Enza lives two different lives. He works in a pharmacy for Mr. Van as an assistant, and he spends the rest of his day in a studio. One could ask, does he enjoy being in the pharmacy or being in the studio? Well, it could be both places since he puts effort to go to work and also be in the studio. However, he would zone out in the studio trying to come up with ideas for his art. He would sit there and think, if I don't come up with an idea, I am lazy and unproductive. But also if he starts doing the work, he would wonder, if I am too hasty and fast, I will end up doing the wrong things and mess up everything. This is a stuck position. His thoughts are stuck between take time to think and stay in the same place without desperate action, or do stand up and do it without detailed reasoning to avoid overthinking. Enza would go home to get some rest. But if he goes to bed and get his rest, then that is laziness. If he decides to stay up late and work on his ideas, he is showing desperation and overthinking. The truth is everyone has two sides to every thought they have, two different choices. Enza wakes up and realizes he has to go to work and hasn't finished his studio project. If he had stayed late and work on it, he might have finished it throughout the night. But if he had stayed late to work on his project, he would wake up late and tired, affecting his morning and being unproductive at work. Enza arrives at work. His boss expects him to put his 100%. Enza acts friendly with his customers, and that makes him seem not aggressive and profitable to meet his boss standards. He knows if he is too friendly and considerate, the customers will take him lightly and take advantage of his warmth to negotiate the prices when they buy. This will lead to him disappointing his boss who wants profit. However, Enza knows if he becomes aggressive and starts being inconsiderate with customers' favors, customers will find him rude, inconsiderate, and not kind enough. Both his boss and customers are looking for different services that it is hard to decide which one is the right thing to do. As if there is two sides to everything he does. He knows if he works hard in his job will bring exhaustion and fatigue. But if he takes it easy, he will seem lazy and not enthusiastic enough. Each of those situations makes sense and both seem right. But they also seem so wrong at the same time. The boss asks him to work overtime and he will get a bonus. If he works overtime, he will get more money and also impress his boss. But the overtime means he has small time to himself, to do his other things and work on his project. At this point, which is which? What is the right thing to do? Truly, there is no right or wrong in both choices. It is only a matter of deciding which will be more convenient for him, based on his emotional and mental state that will bring him to his conclusion at the end of the day. Enza goes to visit his girlfriend Naki. She got mad that he did not have any time to text him the whole day. The truth is Enza has been busy and he also had the time during lunch to text her. But last time him and his girlfriend Naki had an argument the day before. Enza knew if he was to text her, it would make him seem desperate and nagging since she was still angry. He knew if he was to text her and check up on her would either get him ignored or blasted with a rude reply. But also, he could have texted her and she would forget about the argument and they leave it behind. This would leave a confusion as Enza has neither of the answer to each outcome. The only way to find his answer is through action. But which action would have been better? Text her and humble himself and apologize if he did anything to offend her or give her space for her to cool down. Enza sits down with her and begins to apologize, but him apologizing leaves Naki with two options. Either his apology is fake and trying to make her forget everything, or his apology is sincere. Naki knows if she apologizes back, that will leave him another room to repeat the mistake. And if she tries to ignore him, she will be left with unanswered questions and will wonder why he is not reaching out. This leaves her stuck between two options, forgive him and forget, but it will be giving him another chance to mess up or ignore him and distance herself, just to find out he was right all along and she was wrong about him. Such is what everyone is stuck with. There's always two sides to everything. The hard part is you will never be sure which one is the right one. Naki also goes out to work. She deals with cosmetics and is passionate about it. But she is also passionate about sports and opening her own business. She would be at work trying to research her way out to be a businesswoman. However, she can quit her job and begin her business only to find out it won't work, leaving her depressed, and her job turns out to be the income stream that will bring her stability. Or she could quit and prosper at her business that will bring her riches, but giving her daily stress about new ideas and growth. Or she could stick to her job that keeps her at the same place and keeping her at survival mode, but with a guaranteed salary every month. Which is which? Such makes one feel like they have two brains that are playing a game of tug-of-war. One seems right while the other seems wrong, but the other seems reasonable while the other feels illogical. Naki goes to her mentor, Carla, who is constantly giving her every reason to quit her job, get funds, and take a risk with her business idea. While her employer give her every reason to stay at her job, use her regular experience, and stick to what she knows, and will get promoted. Who is right? Who is wrong? And depending on her emotional and mental state at the moment, one reason is going to make sense to her, while the other will completely be absurd to her reasoning. Thus, her current situation, which is financially difficulty and lack of business experience, makes the other reason make more sense to her. Her decision to either both sides is totally dependent to her financial, emotional, mental, and physical state. It's two worlds that both make sense, but they disagree with each other. Mr. Van, who is Enza's current boss and Naki's former employer, is known for his focused, organized, and cold nature. This makes him seem as a controlling and dictating way of running his business. Someone like that seems way too logical and emotionally detached to be in a relationship and raise kids. The truth is, Mr. Van knows the business environment. He knows if he is too friendly and soft with his employees, he will be taken for granted and his orders won't be heard. But if he is too harsh, his employees will feel threatened and take him as a dictator. Mr. Van learned to balance the two. That is one of the main reasons for his prosperity. However, balance is a thin line. It's like standing in between two choices that both need to be attended. Based on the situation and rationality, Mr. Van knows which side to enter at almost free will. When his employees are losing sight and not meeting his requirements, he can enter his rude mode to maintain order. If he is excited about his employees, he still has to enter his friendly mode and make his employees feel at ease sometimes. However, as much as he understands he has two choices to everything, there will always be a stuck position. Mr. Van spends time doing research on his business. If he focuses on his one-only business, he will have less risks to take and more time to focus. But it is not enough to maintain a life he built, his million-rand mansion. If he goes ahead and open multiple businesses, he will have different streams of money flow. However, there will be more stress to deal with, more employees to command, and more bills to pay. Stressful, but worth it to keep his desire and high-class lifestyle stable, but so frustrating and mentally draining. That makes him to go to clubs to relieve his stress, using alcohol and women to escape his reality. Which is which? What is the right thing to do? Does he stick to his one business and not maintain his mansion? Or build multiple businesses that create stress and makes him go wild, drinking in the club? Which is which? Like Carla, Naki's mentor who, unlike the others, does not take neither decision of her wishes. She wishes to get married, but she knows she can get married and be happy, but be stuck with someone who will later break her heart. However, she can stay single and be lonely, just to find out she is rejecting a guy who will keep her happy forever. Which is which? Everyone is stuck between two choices to know which is the right path to take is hard. While the other seems wrong, the other seems right. While the other choice makes sense right now, the other makes no sense. One decision might seem great, while the other is totally bad. The bad decision might be the better one, while the decision we thought was good is actually the worst. You overthink, it seems too much, you underthink it's not enough. If you move too fast, it seems reckless. If you move too slow, it seems nervous. You take a risk, it seems dangerous. You play it safe, it shows lack of bravery. Which is which? There is always a thin line between everything. Thank you. Subscribe.